Okay. Please get your garb, proper cloaks and shawls, and posture for sitting, for stillness. This is an internal process, and there's really only one place you can end up if you're going inward. If you're going outward, you can end up anywhere. We go out with our senses. We reach out into the world. And when we go out in our senses, we go out with our eyes, we see different things. We look at those different things. And some things call to you, some things you want to avert your eyes from, and some things they make no impact. They just, okay, that's just another thing. And the same thing happens with the ears. You go out with your ears and you listen to the world and you hear some things and it calls you to them. You're called to it. Or it's like, oof, nails on a chalkboard. I want to move away from it. There's things we hear that they make no impact. And this is how we navigate our external worldly experience, different senses. But when you're going inward, you don't have your eyes and your ears, your senses of touch. You don't have those senses to help you evaluate, should I go closer or should I go away from that thing? So when you go inward, how do you know where to go? I think it's a little bit similar though, in that what decides what your eye likes, what your ear likes to hear? Do you like country music or rock and roll? Right? There's something internal that makes you feel one way because someone else, it's not like it's universal, right? It's not like everyone hears the same song and feels the same way about it. Everyone hears the song and feels different because internally, it's more than just hearing. And so a part of our external navigating, going out into the world, is determined by our internal awareness, preferences. The feeling of goodness or wholesomeness, completeness. We reach out into our interests and we sort of look for things that create a sense of fulfillment. You eat a good, nourishing meal. There's a sense of fulfillment. It's temporary, but it's almost sometimes it's like your body really knew what it needed to have to feel vital. And that's an internal thing. And so when we do this internal journey, we actually turn away from our eyes and our ears and our taste and our touch. I'm missing one of them. There's five. Smell. Yeah. And we have to rely just on that preference for this sense of goodness, but we cannot evaluate it through objects, right? You see something beautiful, you hear something beautiful to you, it makes you attracted to it, you move toward it. Now, we also get taught values sometimes. We get taught values and beliefs, and sometimes those things can help us navigate how to move out into the world. But they should ultimately, even values, should give us a sense of good feeling. That's how we determine that they're worthwhile values to follow. If your values, even if you thought that they're really great, continue to just lead to suffering on top of suffering, you'd eventually maybe change those values, hopefully. And so this internal journey, again, we external journey, you can end up anywhere. But if you take an internal journey, you have to end up in the same place. The center of something is going to be the same. You might not make it all the way to the center, and so it looks different. You might end up in some weird cul-de-sac of your consciousness, and you'll know, hey, this isn't my center. This isn't wholeness. This isn't the self. And so then you know, oh yeah, I must continue the journey inward because it always has to be the same thing. We might identify our deepest sense of self superficially. We might take this journey in, and we only get partially there, and we say, oh, that's me. I'm my intellect. I'm my virtues or my ideals. Those are they're decent things to hold dear to you, but they're not your center. You have to go through those. You have to journey past that. When we journey inward, we have to get to this place that feels the same, is the same every single time. It is unalterable. It's the makeup of the center of yourself. It's the same always. But similar to how we go out into our life to pursue our interests, avoid things that lead to suffering, we can feel, yes, there's something beautiful. There's a beautiful feeling as I journey inward. If you want to go get something out in life, you can't really avoid it. You have to, there might be some challenges and hurdles to getting to it, but that's actually part of the enjoyment on some level. Working for something, you see a value in that. It's like we're earning it. It's the same with an inner journey. We look for this inner feeling of beauty, peace, wholeness, whatever word it is that you currently resonate with, and we feel it with our mind sense, not with the eyes. It doesn't necessarily need a color, not with our ears. It doesn't necessarily have a sound, not with our sense of touch. We don't know what texture wholeness has. It smells wonderful. It doesn't have a smell. And so when you sit and you journey inward, you're sort of saying, I'm going to leave behind how easy it is for me to look outward. That's why we often close our eyes, but you don't have to shut them. Many people close their eyes and they just see the, the back of their eyelids. But to move away from your physical sight, that's something different. To move away from the auditory sounds coming in through the ears, that's different. So you might use the words in this guided meditation to help remind you, but you don't need to rely on it. Your navigation doesn't require your ears. Your navigation doesn't require your eyes. The mind sense. Mind is elusive because mimic, it mimics what it has learned from external life. You might see with your mind. You can hear with your mind. Touch, taste, all your senses have an internal mental version. It should be obvious that that is not the center. It is not the destination of an inner journey. An inner journey brings you back to the origin of who you are, of what you are. And it's the same every single time. It's the same all the time. Any bit of wisdom or insight you may have, can you understand that these insights and wisdoms, they grow out of, they grow on top of your center. They grow around your center. And so you must even pierce all the collected wisdom you've ever achieved. In this way, every meditation practice is like the first time. Sometimes our experience can become a hurdle in its own right. We start to get comfortable relying on our experiences, our laurels. But in this inner journey, we end up in this ever fresh, always renewing original state. Just check in for yourself. Have you retreated some? Have you withdrawn from the outward, external journey through the eye? Have you withdrawn, turned away from the outer, external journeying of the ear? Even this physical body, its sense of space and earth, have you journeyed away from it? We're not going outward, we're going inward. If you do this, you may feel that you are entering a more emotive, evocative state or a more mental state. And then we go inward from there. Sometimes, when we find ourselves in the emotive state, there are some uncomfortable emotions to be felt. And we say, oh, I would like to paddle myself back to the external shore of sights and sounds, please, where things are fast and I can easily distract myself. But you can move through the emotive state, just like you moved away from your physical sight and your physical hearing. You can move through the emotive state. The journey inward always has the same destination. You might end up in a very beautiful emotive state, a nice emotion, in which case, make sure they are not sirens singing you to a false shore. How would you know? Can you move through it? Is it the same, original, unchanging, unalterable state? Or is it just another good feeling? So there's the inner realm of the emotive state, and then there's the inner realms of the mental state. There's the intellect, and there's the dreams and imagination. Let's start with that realm of images, of story. It's a very powerful one. It's a trickster. It can hide, convince you of all kinds of things, as it shows you stories of light and sound. But you know, those images in the mind of light and sound, you are not seeing them with your physical eye. You are not hearing them with your physical ear. And you can see right through them if you wish. This can be one of the most challenging layers of the inner journey, to have the strength of awareness, willingness to see through any picture show this mental, imaginative realm throws before you. Should you find yourself entertained in one of these prisons, we could stay here. The way to move through them is just to realize, just to know, this is not the center of who you are, of what you are. It is superficial. It is external to your center, to your heart, not as external as your physical sight, but it is outside of you. Try not to get caught in these cul-de-sacs of the visual, imaginative, dreamy mind. We use our discernment to move through this layer. When we get into this place, I don't know really what color it is. I don't see it with my physical eyes. I don't see it with the eyes in my mind. It feels like this thing that decides. It feels like this part of me that chooses. It can discern what is real and what is not. It's where I reason out the real from the false. It's how I know if the emotions I'm feeling are lasting or fleeting. It's how I know if my dreams are dreams or nightmares. It's the part of me that chooses yes and chooses no. Can you feel that? The decider. He or she, it's deeper. It's further back than the dreamer. It's closer to your center. very close to the looker, to that which observes. It evaluates and determines what things are. But it is not the center. Beyond this decider, this intellect, there is something even more inward. Dare to leave the intellect behind, the decider, the chooser. Dare to sink deeper into the unalterable, the unchanging. It is unscrutable. It is undivided. It is beyond sight and sound, touch and taste. You cannot dream of it. It will not haunt you in the nightmare. You'll never see it. You do not know what it feels like because it is deeper than feelings. You cannot say, yes, this is it. Everything is outside of it. Everything is external to that which is most internal. and so it can be called untouchable. It is complete. Complete the inner journey. Go to the place where there is no will, no effort, where every idea and sensation is outside of you. Go to the origination of all things. Should you hear a voice, a false prophet, pretending to be your voice, pretending to be you, the sound of doubt, just realize it's in the mental realm, that voice. Where I am, what I am, is more inner than that. Do not stray outside yourself. Do not pretend to know anything about this place until you know. Do not get lost in a false center. Pass through them. Relax from the practice.